Welcome back to my Legends Expanded Universe chronological timeline order, where I go through the expanded universe according to my personal timeline order and rank each and every individual piece of media on a 10-point scale. And we have reached the last issue of the original Tales of the Jedi comic run, this being issue number 5. Before I go into any more detail on this issue, just look at this amazing cover, and I want to point out specifically how absolutely fierce Jedi Master Thrawn looks on that cover. It's sharp teeth and everything. He looks so good. Shout out to the cover artist Dave Dorman there, of course. Dave Dorman with the beautiful art. This issue was written like all the other issues by Tom Veitch. It was published by Dark Horse. It's a comic issue. It takes place in 3,999 BBY. It was published in 1994. The inside art is by David Roach, and something I noticed in this issue is that the art felt a little more cartoony than usual. I think he's done several issues in the series, but it's really weird because some of the facial expressions in the later issues are just kind of cartoony, like I said. Can't really put a finger on exactly why, but just a little bit cartoony. So in this issue, we get to be with Great Bog of the Hutt, who is still after those Adagian crystals that are in the possession of Jedi Master Thrawn and Nomi Sunrider. And so he sends some bounty hunters after it, and so they're going out to get Nomi and Thrawn. Meanwhile, Nomi and Thrawn are wandering through the desert with Vima, Nomi's daughter, of course. The three of them wandering together. And then Thrawn is like, we're going to stop here and have some dinner for the night. And then Nomi's like, but this is where the beasts attacked my daughter from the earlier issues. But then Thrawn was like, actually, this is one of my favorite places to meditate. It's a peaceful place, which is, I guess, a little bit of a twist. That it's not like for dark side energy, but it's like more about perception. I think that's how it's intended to be taken, but I could be wrong about that. Then later in the issue, they're sitting there at camp, and Ood Banar makes his first appearance. Ood Banar being a Neti Jedi Master. He's like looks like a tree, and he shows up here as Thrawn like contacts him through the Force, but it is kind of comical looking because it's a portal basically that so that they can see each other. And so their like contact through the Force is like this apparition of a portal, which I thought was kind of amusing. So furthermore, then they're asking Ood Banar some questions about like, you know, where the dark side came from. This is from Nomi. And so Ood Banar's like, excellent question. And so then they cover kind of where Darksiders came from. And it seems like a connection to Dawn of the Jedi because there's a guy on the panel who has a huge sword, is how it's depicted, which is kind of interesting because, you know, I'm losing my train of thought because I'm trying to show the picture. There's this guy with his sword and battle armor. So, you know, in Dawn of the Jedi, they use swords rather than lightsabers. So I think that's a connection to Dawn of the Jedi, even though, like, obviously, Dawn of the Jedi came out way later, so it's not connecting to Dawn of the Jedi, but Dawn of the Jedi took that and expanded on it. It also references, like, schisms, so it's referencing, you know, Zendor and the Legions of Leto with Zendor is referenced, as well as the schism that, not by name, but it references the events, these battles, with, like, Ajunta Paul and the Second Great Jedi Schism, and Zendor with the First Jedi Schism, right? So it's referencing events we've already read in short stories by showing battles where swords were used, right? And so they're contemplating all of this, but then they are attacked by the pirates who are looking for the Adagian crystals again, and Nomi is refusing to pick up another lightsaber. She's like, I'm done using lightsabers, and Thrawn's like, you're a stubborn student. But they're in danger, and so Thawne stays to fight, and then Nomi's like prepping the ship for takeoff with a droid who's still there, who I forgot. I think his name's 3D. And so he doesn't really do anything. But so they're prepping the ship, and then Nomi's like, no, I will use my lightsaber. So she goes in and uses her lightsaber. But the thieves are like, meanwhile, these bounty hunters here, they start fighting each other as well, because like they're arguing over who gives the crystals to the Hutt. Because depending on who gives the crystals, they'll get elevated status, or they'll be executed if the right people doesn't give it back. So there's a fight going on over the crystals, and more than that, for their own lives, pretty much. And so Nomi comes in and lightsabers them all up, and then they peacefully, they've fought off the bounty hunters. Thawne tells her, well done. And then Thawne, Nomi, and Vima reflect on this, and then Thawne's like, you will be a powerful student. And so that's pretty much how the issue ends for the first arc. I've got to say, I thought this was a lackluster issue, I'm afraid. It felt like it just repeated the events from the previous issues, them trying to recover the Adagen crystals again. So, or not recover, but steal the Adagen crystals again. So, it felt like we've just seen that. And then the ending was kind of abrupt, and I was looking for more, I think. But, this issue's fine. It's not bad. It's Tales of the Jedi. If it's Tales of the Jedi, it's going to be good. But I thought the ending to this one, I don't know, I guess it was a little lackluster to me. That being said, I would still give it a 3 of 10. It's a very solid issue still. The art at times is a little funky. I feel like maybe it was being rushed, the art in this issue. But this is probably the weakest issue of Tales of the Jedi as all of the comics that I've read in the Tales of the Jedi series. Of all of the issues, including the prequel ones by Kevin J. Anderson, I do think this is the weakest issue. Although some of that context there with talking about what will eventually be known as the first and second Great Jedi Schisms, and showing us like Force swords, or as they'll eventually become known, was very cool to see that as well. And reading chronologically, it's just very nice to see. So overall, a 3 of 10, but it's still super solid for Tales of the Jedi. I just think this ending felt a bit rushed, didn't feel very satisfying, because obviously there's going to be more to come. But for wrapping up this 3-issue arc of the saga of Nomi Sunrider from issues 3 to 5, it just left me unfulfilled for this issue. So I wasn't the biggest fan of this issue, but let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments.